Welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast.
Oh, I was so close.
You had them wondering.
I was gonna jump in. Like I had just gotten a deep breath, and I was opening my mouth to say Smashing Heads Podcast, but I couldn't remember if it was welcome to or welcome back to.
I think I say welcome back.
Yeah, you
week.
do.
Yeah, I just decided to make very awkward eye contact with the other two and not say.
You didn't make awkward eye contact with me. It was you and Jake staring into each other's souls. I was trying to jump in.
We've known each other longer.
Well, we were smiling too.
Yeah. So welcome back to the show. This is episode 21, part one of the finale reunion, whatever it's called. So as always,
it's not the finale because the finale was last week.
It's a reunion.
And we are reunioning after 1 week.
Not even, because we were late last week.
That's right.
Is it reunioning or reuniting?
It can be whatever you want it to be.
But as always, my name is Zach, and I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, what's up?
And my best friend, Jake.
That's weird.
Well, now your thing's all screwed up now.
Well, she threw me off with the quick, hey, what's up?
Well, okay, so before I tried to intro, I was thinking to myself, ooh, what if I took Jake's how's everybody doing tonight? And I really thought about it, but then I thought...
Well, you've done it once before.
I know, and I thought, I was like, oh, I wonder if he would think it was funny this time.
So instead you went with, what's up?
Yeah.
How's everybody doing tonight?
There it is.
Yeah.
Now we're in the swing of things.
Yeah.
Are we, though?
Yeah. So we saw part one of the finale reunion.
Well,
what a hot mess.
Yeah, well, before we started, me and you were dancing to cowboy music.
Well, yeah, before we started recording the podcast, yeah.
And
the band The Dead South, if you want to listen to them.
And
I don't want our listeners to think that every person that lives in Tennessee, before they do anything, they just listen to country music and start dancing in the living room.
It's not. It's more like bluegrass, like folksy stuff, and they're actually from they're from Canada.
Worse.
They're from Toronto. So
shout out to Canada.
Yeah, and it's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's good, but I mean
it's good shoveling music.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah. All three of us have only ever lived in the state of Tennessee, and
speak for yourself.
People that don't live in Tennessee might think that that's a normal occurrence, that people that live here just stop what they're doing at various times throughout their day and just start dancing to
be fair, we all grew up hating country music.
Yeah.
And we still don't like the commercial country music.
Yeah.
No, the country pop.
Yeah, like Nashville country.
I've hated that my whole life.
I make an exception for Mason Ramsey.
He's like 11.
Count.
He counts.
He's like a viral
don't write
Twitter
him
star.
Off. But he guy's the real deal.
He's a throwback to like the old school.
But I will say, I grew up living in the mountains with the mountain people, and so I listen to folksy bluegrass stuff all the time, and so that is my comfort music. I've loved it my entire life.
I just wish you would have gotten a boomerang or something of me and Zach shoveling over here.
Mm-hmm.
My house is a hot mess right now. There's no way.
Well, let's be real. Whose house isn't a mess? All right.
I almost made a Carmen reference.
Yeah, our guy Carmen.
My house is messier right now than it has been in a long time, and it makes me want to cry.
While you guys have a messy house, you both look as good as ever.
I'm wearing pajama pants.
And I got sent home from work because I looked pale, and they said you don't look good.
Well, people see what they choose to see.
Yeah.
Like this is the sweater that I wore to work today, and I came home and took off my nice jeans and just put on old plaid pajama pants that I slept in last night. No, these are mine. Okay. You couldn't fit in these if you wanted to.
I can fit in anything.
Nope, you sure can't.
Well, there's one quick thing I kind of need to get everyone's opinion on before we jump into this.
Is it this girl you're trying to talk to?
No.
Zach, shut that down.
Well,
fast.
I knew what story you're gonna tell.
So before we get into the chaos that was the reunion tonight,
and just preface up top, this show's probably gonna be shorter than most of the other ones.
I mean, maybe unless we keep telling stories.
So it's the holiday season, right? And, we just came out of Thanksgiving. We're going into Christmas.
Christmas time's coming.
Yeah.
Christmas time's
and
coming. That's my favorite Christmas song.
I don't even know what song that is.
It's bluegrass. They pull out a banjo to keep the beat, and then they got another guy with a mandolin just fiddling away, and then you got like a man with like a really nice, just mid-range voice, and he's singing, and then you have a female that's very much harmonizing, just a little bit too high, and it's just great.
Well, don't get me too sidetracked or I'll start shoveling again. But
Christmas times are coming. Christmas times are coming.
so I had this situation come up. And I'm a guy when like a situation or a conversation is taking place or something's brought up, the weight of it doesn't really hit me until I go home and think about it or something. That's just how I'm wired.
I don't know. I know what story you're going to tell, but I don't know where you're going with this.
I don't know how you're going to get to where you're trying to go.
So it was presented to me. Now, keep in mind, I'm a 28-year-old grown man, and at this point in my life, I am single. Mm-hmm. So I have I think as you coined it.
Well, and you've lived away from home for how many years? Like a long time.
I moved out at 19 or 20.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
So you've been gone for almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years. And so I think you even coined it. I have a brand I have to think about.
I did not say that.
I think you did.
No.
Well, I'm going to say you did.
Okay.
You can
What's
deny
your
it.
brand?
Jake Ingle.
Trademarks.
Trademark. And so it was brought up as we were having, as I was hanging out with my dad, my stepmom, my two little brothers, that side of my family, that we were going to do family Christmas pictures. Sounds harmless, right? And initially hearing it, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, that's fine. And then my stepmom goes into talking about how we're all going to match. This is
like follow the same color scheme?
Oh,
everything.
Like
so
same outfits.
So
That's a red flag.
that's the thing that, like, when I got home, it hit me. We're going to be matching. And she had actually brought over my outfit, half of my outfit, before they had went home, because we live about an hour away. And it's red pajama pants. Red and black pajama pants.
Like the buffalo plaid?
Yeah. And then I jump on
Classic.
Facebook, and I see that she's put out like a suggestion thing for like matching shirts. And this girl comments and is like, I can make shirts for you. What do you want on it? And she said, if you can just put a red truck on there and have it say Ingle Family Christmas 2018 at the bottom of it. And when I saw that, I knew I had a problem on my hands. And
Is it because you're not a 19-year-old college girl coming home for Christmas?
here's what it is that what it reminded me of is the very thing we used to do as a family is we'd go buy those goofy Independence Day shirts from Old Navy every year. You know what I'm talking about?
Every white family did that.
I never did that.
Well,
Never
we
once
did it. And you know what age I was when we did that? Like 9 years old, 10 years old, 7 years old. All right? I am...
You're going
You went
backwards.
up and then you went back.
That's how backwards this whole situation is because I'm a 28-year-old grown man, and I'm not okay with doing this
When
because...
you don't live with them.
I don't live with them.
You haven't lived with them for 9 years.
It doesn't mean that I'm ashamed of them or that I don't associate with them, but this is I don't think it's for me at this point in my life. And the fact that, here's my thought process when it pertains to being single is that first impressions are everything, right? And I'm going to want to meet someone.
I think I know where this
And
is going.
what's the first thing you do when you hear about a girl you may be interested in is you kind of scout out the Facebook, right? See what you're working
That's
with.
the first place you go to, and then you go
Right.
to Instagram.
No, then you climb a tree outside her window with binoculars.
You do that too.
Is that
We're
what
just
you
kidding.
did with me?
We'll never know.
And so my thought is like I'm gonna get tagged in these pictures, and so
Oh, no doubt about it.
And
There's
so what-
no chance.
what
that
if
you're
said
not.
what if said girl that I may be interested in that may be semi interested in me as well hops on to see bless you to see these
Thank you.
pictures and thinks that's a little off, isn't it? Grown man, because what it also paints is that I may still live at home with my parents.
I know.
almost 30 years old.
That's the worst possibility.
And so, am I out of line? Because I called my dad and I was like, "I'm not doing these pictures." I said,
Which,
"There's one."
by the way, you were playing PlayStation
I was playing Rocket
me,
League with you.
and you had him on speaker so I could hear the whole conversation.
I wanted you to hear it, and
And I didn't get to hear it.
he was very like put off by it. Like he couldn't believe it.
He was upset.
He couldn't believe that
Yeah.
like this was an issue with me.
His whole side of it was,
Here's what he said. He's like, "There are things you're going to regret one day down the road." And I said, "Dad, I'm not going to regret not being in these pictures."
he was like, well, you'll see things differently one day. And his just like, he's like, it's not like you're goofy all the time. He's like, it's fine to be goofy with your family.
And my point is like, but like, again, about being single, I was like, but whoever this girl may be doesn't know me.
But his point was she shouldn't care.
Right.
Yeah.
And that if she thinks it's silly, you shouldn't have anything to do with her anyway.
Okay, listen. When Zach and I think it was our first go around. My mom asked how old you were, as I was in my second year of college. I was like 19. I was 19 when we met, and I told her, I was like, well, he's been out of college for a little while. He's a little bit older. And the first thing she asked me, she's like, does he live with his parents? And I said, oh no, he's got his own house.
The nerve.
And she was like, okay, because that'd be a little weird if he still lived with them.
I don't want to judge anybody.
But,
if you're listening to us and you're
No, look, it's fine. Family pictures are great, but at this point in my life, right? Like I'm just not for that.
But
the only person I'm going to take Christmas pictures with is my dog.
Yeah.
That's it.
you know what? I'm glad you said that, because I brought up last week to Zachary, I said, hey, we should do Christmas cards this year because we've never done them before. And he was like, okay. And I was like, we should have the dogs in the picture.
Yeah.
And he's like, how would we do that? And I was like, oh, there are ways. And he's like, well, Buster will be all over the place. There's no way we could get him to sit still. And I was like,
probably have an erection the whole time.
hey, stop it. That's not nice talk.
Well, he's right.
He's so obsessed with me.
Well, the thing is, get him outside, let him run around for about 10 minutes, and he'll be good. You grab the back of his collar, just tell him to sit, and he will. And if you just hold up a treat, he will sit still forever until you give it to him.
So are you going to do it?
I want to really bad.
It's too cold right now.
It is real
I didn't
cold.
say we had to do it today. It's going to be like 60 degrees in 2 or 3 days. It's going to heat back up.
So if you're listening and you think I'm in the wrong here, you're more than welcome to tell me. But I just thought it was real bizarre, and I'm not going to do it.
Hey, if my mom wanted to do it, would it be weird if we were in it? Because we're married and we live on our own, but also I'm a girl.
Yeah, it would. I mean, I don't know. But again, my whole point to him was his dad's trying to justify it, and I was like, all you have to say is like you just don't want to do it. Like you're an adult, you can make your own decisions.
Yeah. So Dawson and Jagger, don't tell mom and dad
because they're listening.
They do listen.
So before we get into tonight's episode, I have a couple quick things to say up top.
Say it.
About a couple things. We had some people reach out to us that didn't agree with our take on the final or things like that, which is fine. Like we don't expect people to always agree with us.
Well, I had a differing take than you guys did.
Well, I mean, and that's fine. Like and first and foremost, we are fans of the show, and we're fans of certain people,
and we're friends.
Yeah, and we're grown to like some of these people personally, like on a level outside of the show that we've talked to, and so we had some people say like we were more biased towards some than others, and that may be true, but at the same time, like I'm not going to sugarcoat how I feel about people, and also I think we try to be as objective as possible, and like we've even said like we love Marie, we love Shane, whatever. Some of them, they've done stuff that we're like, hey, that doesn't make any sense or looks bad, whatever. Speaking of that, after sitting on kind of what we saw last week in the finale and kind of thinking it over in my head and just reading some other people's opinions, I think I've changed my mind on the finale. And especially the format of it. Like we thought when we watched it, it's pretty good finale. Like we enjoyed it. I think
I had some red flags on the finale.
That's fine, but what I'm saying is like I think going forward, I think we should almost demand that there are not any timed finals from here on out. It should be whoever makes it to the end first wins.
I absolutely agree with that.
There could be staggered, like with the racing penalty, they grenade, whatever. They had to start 10 minutes late. That's fine. If they make it up, it's whatever. But timed finals, there is so many ways that production and whatever could manipulate the outcome, and we would never know. Marie said full on she thinks Josh Sylvia won regardless. There also was apparently a whole puzzle section that they cut out that Natalie and them have talked about.
I'm the one that supplied the screenshot.
What? What are you talking about?
I supplied the screenshot for people to look at.
I still have no idea what you're talking about. But there was that, and then also, like, apparently from what Marie and some others have said, production asked him before the final was over, will you split the money or will you take it and run? And so is
that why they had that interview of Hunter saying he would absolutely split the money 50-50?
I don't know when they interviewed him or if they just asked him like when they're out there somewhere, but regardless, the theory is that they knew someone taking all the money is a better product for MTV.
Do you think that they devised that after seeing Johnny do it to Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, again, that was a huge rating spike for them, and like it still is like one of the most infamous parts of the show in general. So having the team win, split the money, isn't nearly as dramatic as what happened with Ashley and Hunter. So that's the theory out there. We can't attest one way or the other if it's true or not.
I fully believe it. I've been saying it since last week. Joss and Sylvia won.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that it would have, from a dramatic production standpoint, been there wouldn't have been as many fireworks because Josh Sylvia would have just split the money. I think Cara and Marie said they'd split it.
It's good TV.
Yeah.
It's good TV.
So I think any final from here on out is going to be tainted unless it is a straight up like, oh, you made it to the top of the mountain first and you win, like how it used to be. I'm out on timed finals, which because it's so manipulative, and we've known throughout this whole season that they've done not only like equalizers and things like that that production doesn't talk about or they don't show on the show. So the more I thought on it, the more I don't like this finale.
Here's why I enjoyed it. Was I have a different view on things based off the things that I'm interested in. Because I thought about it too. The actual final itself was not anything daunting.
No.
Especially that final part was as goofy as the riding a pole on the river
I'm
or
still
something
mad about
to the
that.
beach shore.
Yeah.
Like, but it was, you remember the ending.
Yeah.
And there were fireworks. And that's
More like bombs.
Yeah, and so that to me is what kind of made up for everything, is because it was crazy. And like when you're watching that, you're not thinking like, production did this, they screwed this and they left this out and whatever else. Like, we just see it for what it is. And so I still think the spectacle of it and what happened is as big as anything we've seen in a final. But the final, as far as what they had to do, was as lame as about any final.
I agree, and without any sort of like a running clock, and which again they could still manipulate the whole time.
Yeah.
They would have to do some sort of a running clock that the competitors could see the whole time, not just like keep a little side like, hey, this is your number, we'll give them to you at the end and say who wins. Again, I agree that it was a good final as far as like the craziness that happened, but I don't like that format. And so that's. I
mean, we had people praying for people and condemning them to hell all at once.
And now he's fine. He's forgiven her.
Yeah.
I don't
what a
know
transformation! What a guy!
No.
I think he's someone who is not in tune with his emotions. He probably needs to see a counselor of some sort. No, this whole season. I mean, it's been entertaining, dramatic wise, but. It's just kind of a letdown. It's been too cushy. The entire season was just too cushy.
Was it only one night, the finale? Like,
Yes.
Yes.
and it
just
was
the
like
one
they
night.
stayed in a not bad place.
Yeah.
Yes.
But even like going back to the Redemption House, that was too nice of a house. Pretty sure one of the competitors that the first time they were in there, they're like, "Oh, this is almost nicer than the main house."
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that at length. I think we've kind of.
I mean, that's just
Yeah.
that's my beef with this entire season. It was too cushy.
There was way too many twists and turns and all that. But I'm just thinking about specifically the final. Yeah, it was where they slept and hung out was way too nice.
Pizza, wine.
That's weird for a final.
But that's what a lot of this season felt like.
Yeah.
This was the culmination of the 2 seasons prior.
Yeah.
And they were going all out. And
But ironically, the final last year was way harder to me.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was. And so I think there's a good chance that a lot of what happened this year will not stick.
I hope so. I hope that's the case.
What I want to see from production with future challenge seasons, I want to see more of the daily challenges, eliminations, and finals that we saw 5-10 years ago.
Is it a stretch to say that you want to see more Joss?
Nope.
All right. Well, yeah.
We should go back to the island. That's not a good season.
That is not a good season.
No, but the fact that they were living on an island stranded,
tough.
they only had so much food. And when someone like Dunbar ate a whole lot, he ate a whole lot more than a lot of the other people on that island. So the other people were getting mad at him for eating all the eggs. So then they didn't have that food to eat. I that's what I enjoyed about that season.
My favorite
It was
part of that.
legitimate. Like they were losing their mind because they were like stranded and they were running low on resources like toilet paper. They had to wait for the airplane to come like once a week and drop off food rations and toilet paper.
Otherwise, you just had to air dry.
My favorite part of that season was when they got bored and like were exploring for like fruit, and then Abram ran into like a crazy hornet's nest, and
Yeah.
And, like almost
yeah,
died.
he had to run away from it. But we're not talking about the island.
But but that kind of stuff where it's when you're on the challenge, it's a literal challenge to even be there,
To even live.
and to live, to
It's not Survivor.
survive,
It's not Survivor.
To
though.
breathe.
to keep your sanity.
I agree as far as the Redemption House. I don't agree. The main houses are almost always nice. The island and then Invasion of Champions were about the only two examples.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
that.
I'm fine with the nice house being for the main house. I'm not okay with a cushy Redemption House. I'm not okay with a cushy
I don't even want a Redemption
final
House.
house. But I mean, even some of the challenges that they did on the island, or other seasons from that era, they did a lot tougher stuff, and it's not so. I mean, cushy is the word that I'm going to go with. It's not cushy. Nowadays, like the last 2 or 3 seasons that we've watched, it's like the daily challenges, they're too afraid somebody's going to get hurt. I mean, not like seriously hurt, but like if they got a scratch, like, oh no, we can't do this. It needs to be challenging.
Like the name.
Yeah.
I think because I hear Hannah, and I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter too. I think the hate's gone a little too far on this season.
I agree with that.
Personally.
I agree with that.
I just was not satisfied.
Personal experience, I found myself just about every episode entertained. And my thought,
Other than like maybe the first 2 or 3.
my
Yeah.
my
5.
thinking on when I'm watching television, as long as I'm entertained, I'm good to go. Now, people are entertained differently, so you're obviously going to have different opinions on everything. But for me, I was entertained for 80% of the season.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
Even the final, I was entertained because as goofy as some of the stuff was, you still had
We
these
still enjoyed it.
crazy weird
Yeah.
spats in between, with Cara and Marie's little beef when they fell off the platform, and then Natalie veering off course.
Which-
It was just goofy little stuff.
Did you
happening
guys
that was-
see the like uncensored thing that Marie tweeted out that was like Cara like losing her mind during like the extended version of all that at the end of the finale?
No.
I don't know.
I'll show it to you later. Like
Right.
she's being a big baby. Like
Well,
she got a lot of crap about it.
regardless, I think there's a difference in the type of entertainment that you expect with this show. Yes, I enjoyed watching the fights and the arguments and the drama. But, I mean, if that's all this show is going to be now, why not watch Big Brother? What's the difference? I watch the challenge to watch them compete.
Yeah,
I want to get the dramatic effects also, like Kenny and Wes having their ultimate rivalry and doing everything they can to undermine each other. But I watch the challenge to watch the challenges. I want to see them compete against each other. I want to see them fight it out. I mean, if I'm just here for the drama, I can watch any other show.
Yeah, and I think that's been a big criticism this whole season. I mean, I didn't really mean to launch into a criticism of this season.
No.
I just was talking about the finale.
I think the one, if you fix just one thing, I think the big thing would be make losing matter again.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
Is like the drama's fine, but losing almost didn't matter.
And
this season.
there was no rhyme or reason to it as far as like, it almost was better to lose and just kind of hang out and not have to do the other stuff. I mean, anyway.
And that's really stupid.
Yeah, so let's get into tonight. First of all, not hosted by The Miz for the first time in a while.
Okay, my first note was, man, The Miz looks weird.
It's Dolph Ziggler.
How do you feel about him? The show off.
I don't know much about his like wrestling persona, but I've seen him on other things. I mean, I don't have a problem
I
with
think
him.
he's a better host than The Miz because, like,
But The Miz is part of the challenge.
Yeah, The Miz is part of the challenge, so that link made sense. But he's kind of annoying watching him host because he's so over the top. It's just too much at times.
That's because he's over.
Well,
He's the A-lister.
how do you personally feel about Dolph opening the show saying that the WWE doesn't even compare to what these people went through?
All right, so that was the first thing.
That's his opening line.
All right,
I didn't even listen.
That's a load. All right, that's a bunch of baloney. All right, I know these challengers go through a lot mentally, emotionally especially, but their careers ended in the ring, right?
Well, some people have died.
Some people have died.
Some people have been
I
paralyzed.
mean, Daniel Bryan, up until this past year, had to call it a career at like 32 or 33 years old because of concussion stuff.
And some of the people in the challenge this season are older than that.
Listen, wrestling is absolutely scripted because I can hear some people saying it's fake. It's scripted, but it is not fake.
The drama's fake.
But the action,
Yeah, I'll
what
give
they
you.
feel,
I'll give you. They
You're,
like physically
like,
perform.
You're literally being slammed on the ground.
and you have to trust those guys.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes
no,
you can't.
I'm a Ziggler fan. That's a goofy thing to say. That's not true.
You think he's mad at the WWE?
No, because he's making a lot of money from them.
Yeah. So why take that jab?
I think he was just trying to like play up, like, hey, they're competing, and you know, it is weird that he kind of went after his own sport.
Yeah, but all the wrestling fans in the room went, "What?
what? Like,
Yeah, like there were a lot of wrestling fans there.
I bet you there were.
It's a weird generation. Yeah, so I just wrote The Miz looks weird. Thought that was kind of funny, especially after they put Dolph Ziggler on the thing.
It's a good name too."
Yeah.
That's not his real name, is it?
No.
No way. Because I looked at it and I was like, there's no way that's his real name. Not possible.
He did a fine job hosting. We've had way worse hosts on these after shows and stuff like that.
I think he did. I think he did just fine. I won't be mad watching him host next week.
Yeah, and I mean the first note I really had from tonight, which I kind of took sporadic notes because honestly, like these reunion shows, for the most part,
It's just arguing.
Yeah, they kind of. It's just a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, you'll get a good reunion show, like the one after Rivals 3 with Sarah, where she like
She was gonna take her
She
clothes
got
off.
really mad and she's like, I'm going to take off all my clothes and then you
'Cause
can't record me anymore.
Yeah, that was a good reunion show, not for her mental torment, but just in general.
I think that
the one
broke
with
her.
like with Cara and Abe, where they were backstage off and on a lot of the times, and they
I thought he was going to
Bloodlines.
physically hurt her.
it was like those are good reunion shows. This one, it's just a lot of people yelling.
Well, I feel like we should have all had the same note from the very top.
I wrote Ashley's grinning from ear to ear. She's so proud of herself. And then I wrote, what in the heck happened to Ashley's voice?
And you wrote?
Well, that's not my first note. My first note is Ashley hooked up with Derek H.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
I
And
mean,
she called him Derek H.
I mean, based off the name of our podcast, I figured you guys would have agreed with me in saying it's good to see CT back.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to see him back.
He kind of laid low for this reunion.
He was real quiet.
He gave some good old man advice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like my third note, is like old man CT.
Yeah. I wrote, what in the heck happened to Ashley's voice? And then in response to the Derek H thing, I said, this is so weird already.
She did have a weirdly higher pitched, like high register.
It's like she had something done.
She's on a financial high, so.
No, I'm like, I legitimately think she had something done because her voice.
Maybe she stopped smoking. I don't know.
Maybe.
No, that would not change that. But
Changed a lot of things.
Yeah, but she had a strong low alto voice, kind of like I do. And so at first I thought maybe she's just faking it to try to get more attention or something. But then when she got really fired up and she started yelling and she was still in this soprano range, I was like, no, this is not fake. This is real. Something has happened.
What range do you put me and Zach in?
Bass.
Baritone.
Yeah.
Zach, your voice is a little high.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with you.
I'm 28 and my voice still cracks. It's totally fine.
I remember the first time you called me, and I was like, this is not what I thought you sounded like. I thought you would have like a really, really low voice.
Hey, Hannah, this is Zach.
Yeah, that's what I sound like. Yeah.
Also, and then I wrote, being a dad has really wisened CT up, dash good advice.
Well, the main thing that I took away from the beginning, like, again, my notes are kind of all over the place, was Ashley went after Hunter.
She came in ready.
She said she hooked up with Derek H, and apparently, allegedly, because I don't even know if I believe it. She said,
I don't.
She said, Hunter said he couldn't ever hook up with her again because she hooked up with a black guy. Now, she's from the South. Hunter's from the South. It fits regionally, as we're from the South. It's not something we're proud of.
If you didn't know Hunter really well, you would assume.
I don't want to assume just because we're all from the South and we're not like that.
No.
But
I'm biracial.
It's more common here
Yes.
than
It
is.
is.
yeah,
in
and
those
it's
places.
not acceptable. But
No,
he
like,
said
I
that.
even
But
have people say stuff to me.
But his point was, he's like, my two best friends on the show are black, which is Nelson and Corey.
Well,
and it's a good point because those are
And
the
then-
two
and,
people
yeah.
he's closest to.
The third point is
Yeah.
the one that
Kind of threw everyone.
I think we all looked at each other like, because we had to rewind it.
Yeah, he said something along the lines
He's
of,
like, I love them so much, I would have sex
oh,
with
no,
them.
no,
He
no,
said
no.
he has
He
had.
said they have had. With
I thought he said he would.
No. It's that they have in the past. And-
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's way weirder. I thought he said that he would because Corey like buried his head like he was embarrassed. Like, why would you
Because-
say that? That's weird.
Because he said we have had.
So clear it up for me, because when I heard it, I heard it as we've had sex with black women. Like, I've had sex with black women with Nelson
I
and
don't-
Corey.
I don't know
Or
if
was
he-
it just women in general?
I think it was just women in general. He said I don't.
But his point
his
to him
point-
not being racist is that I have sex with
With my
women
two-
with my black men,
with my two
my
black
black
best
friends.
friends.
Sorry, my black friends.
Yeah, it was something along those lines. He's like, I can't be racist. He's like, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't hook up with you after you've had sex with a black guy because we've had sex with the same women like at the same time. Something along those lines. And it was like
they're all together in the same.
they take their teams serious.
It's
Team Young Buck.
Yeah.
that's more.
It happened. Apparently, he admitted it. Everyone just kind of brushed over it, except Corey got kind of.
So I didn't see Nelson's reaction. I just saw Corey.
I don't know if they showed Nelson. I don't know.
I don't know.
Again,
I don't
these
know.
reunion shows are kind of all over the place. The next weird thing was like Marie kind of like went after Shane for a minute,
Yeah, I didn't like that.
and like Shane even like under his breath was like, "What is she doing?" And who knows?
I don't know.
They both got some personality to them.
Maybe we can.
Well, I mean, they're like the two. they're like the two siblings, best friends. And I think even Shane called Marie his sister. Like when we spoke with him, he's like, yeah, she's like a sister to me. And I think their dynamic in their relationship is kind of like that, like your sibling that's close to you in age, where you're really close, you get along really well, but you're gonna fight like cats and dogs at times.
Yeah, again, they seem to kind of go back and forth.
And so maybe they were just having one of those days where, you know, they're gonna butt heads a little bit, and tomorrow they're gonna be holding hands. And
well, and this reunion always puts everyone in a very defensive state, because they know people are going to try to like one up them on TV, because they've had all these months to watch the show back
on live TV.
Well, it's not live,
but I mean, like, it's in front of a large sum of
it's in front of a live audience, but it's edited for sure.
Yeah, but I mean,
they've done live ones in the past though, but this one was definitely edited.
Yeah. Real
live ones, like that type of cast and those hosts can't handle a real live event very well. It's kind of like if you ever watch like the Ink Master live finales, they're very awkward because Dave Navarro's not
awful.
good at that. Yeah.
I also wrote, I wonder if Davon brought her brothers or / cousins to beat up Shane, and also who is a Day fan.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that came over from Big Brother.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think she had that many.
Oh no, she's got a lot, like legitimately, because she's got 2 shows worth.
Well, she kept saying how she was gonna beat somebody's butt, and then it reminded me of the threats that she made to have Shane beat to a pulp.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get into that, but
I just,
you know,
considering she made those threats, and MTV takes that seriously.
Well, Shane went to the lawyers. He thought it was funny. He's like, you threatened me, and
yeah,
I thought that was funny.
But I mean, like, it came to the point where she ended up having to delete the tweets and acting like nothing happened, like she never said anything. And then she gets on TV and makes similar threats to someone else. And I just...
Here's the thing. I don't think any of these Big Brother people are going to follow through on anything that they say they're going to do.
No.
Even Pauly.
I do think Davon is all talk.
I think to me, you know how like Pomeranians are, where they try to bark at people or other dogs, and they think that they're like this big giant bear, but nobody takes them seriously because they're so small, and you know they're not going to do anything. Like it's all bark and no bite. Yeah, I think Davon will go after you like verbally for sure. Like she's not afraid to back down, like to like go after you and like say whatever. But yeah, they're all like, okay, I don't know if they're all smart enough or they're all not dumb enough to understand that they're not gonna bring family members to beat people up, or Kyle's and Pauly are not gonna fight. If they were in the same room, they're not gonna really fight because they know.
You say that to Pauly's face.
We thought that was gonna happen, and then they didn't do it in the Redemption House. They lived together.
They're not gonna do anything because they know we need to make money and be on these shows in the future. Like they're not legitimately gonna ever get in fights. It's not gonna happen.
There's one thing I wanted to bring up, going back to Hunter and Ashley.
I had one more note on that too.
Ashley started talking about multiverses.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which
maybe she's a big Marvel fan.
Well, I was gonna say, like, well, even DC, like, I play Injustice 2, and they have multiverses where there's different versions of the Flash and Batman,
and like going into the new Spider-Man, the animated one that's
into
coming
the multiverse.
Out. Yeah, and it's like there's a ton of different Spider-Man throughout the whatever.
Do you think she used that term because she knows about all this stuff? Or do you think she heard that and thought it was a cool word to use and made a mental note to incorporate that so that she would sound smart?
I think there's a chance.
I think it's 50-50.
That she believes it. You know, it's like the little girl in Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She has the
X-23?
Yeah, where she has the location to Eden.
Okay, I don't remember that.
Where all the other kid mutants are. And Logan gets all upset because he's like, this comes from a comic book. Like, it's not real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because in that world, there are comic books about him.
But then they go, and it's real.
Yeah.
So what if Ashley's right, and there's a multiverse, and we're all just missing out here?
There's no comics about her, though.
But does there have to be? Do we need an Ashley comic in this multiverse?
No.
Smashly comic.
Oh man,
Yeah, that's what it'd have to be.
I'm more open to that.
She'd have to turn into Smashly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm more open to a Smashley comic than
Yeah,
an Ashley comic.
It's kind of like She-Hulk. And I don't know about that. The one thing that during that whole thing where I said Old Man CT is coming in with his wisdom, which Old Man Logan is comics.
what a coincidence because
Yeah.
they're both great.
But it's when they play that clip back of Hunter, like specifically saying, if this slut ever does whatever, I'm coming for her and her family. He's trying to walk it back, and CT's like, "Shut up! Don't try to like
Just say you
messed up. Move on." He's like, "You're not going to make it any better."
I did have a question.
That was the first time he piped up, like during the show.
I think that's the only time he piped
And
up.
it was very timely.
Yeah.
I did have a question about that clip. When they played it at the reunion, they put the little asterisks in place of the letters so that there's not curse words on the screen for the television. So they did it for the F word, but they also did it for the word slut. When they played that clip during the finale last week, they put slut in all caps.
Standards and practices with TV is very weird. I went to college for television production.
Yeah, you're the television guy here. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question.
So we learned more so in a lot of our classes that there's not really a set standard of rules. The main thing is you kind of have to know your audience and know if they're going to complain to the FCC about what you put on TV, which is how networks like AMC and whatever have slowly started pushing the line more and more with not just what they say, but like The Walking Dead would have never been really like on TV 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's way over the top violence, but they've slowly kind of like stepped it up, and they know their audience isn't going to complain about it. It's the same thing with like Comedy Central back in the day. Like Saturday nights at midnight would run unedited movies, and because I knew people watching Comedy Central that late at night are not going to call and complain about it. And now, like on Comedy Central and FX and some other ones, like they can say the S word and whatever. And even 5 years ago, you weren't really allowed to do that.
Yeah.
It's just if the FCC gets enough calls and complaints about something, that's when they crack down and start fining people. But obviously, if you're Nick Jr. or something, and you have someone say
God
like
forbid.
the S word, like you're gonna get a lot of complaints.
Can you imagine Little Bill or Dora?
You can't talk about Little
sorry.
Bill now. But yeah,
Sorry.
it's stuff like that. Like you're not
Why can't you talk about Little Bill?
because Bill Cosby.
He's not a,
Is that what it was?
not a good
Yeah,
man.
he made that show.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I used to love
You
that
didn't know
show.
that was
It's
Little
called
Bill?
Little Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was Bill Cosby.
Who'd have thunk we'd have gotten on Bill Cosby on the
You
spot?
know, honestly, before all this stuff came out about him, I loved Bill Cosby, and
He was really laying low.
yeah, it's
Like he was enjoying retirement.
obviously I do not like him now, and it's awful the things that he did. But I grew up kind of watching the Cosby Show, and I had his old stand-up like cassettes. Like that was one of the first stand-up things I ever had. And
Well, yeah, kids say the darndest
I remember
things.
we used to watch. We would pull them up on YouTube, like up to like I guess when did all that come out? About
I don't
him?
know.
Well, it was before it came out, but I mean it was pretty recent that we went back and watched one of them.
Well, we don't need to talk anymore about him. He's in jail.
I know
And-
my heart hurts that all that happened.
Well,
Because I mean, like he was someone that I like cherished because I grew up watching the Cosby Show.
yeah, but I don't think
it was nice seeing.
I don't think any of us have any empathy towards him because
No.
he did all of that.
No, it was awful,
Yeah.
absolutely awful. I hate that it happened.
too. Speaking of that, a quote that I pulled from tonight was that something along the lines of, it's something we've grown up hearing, but hurt people hurt people.
Amen.
They said something along those lines because they were.
Is that not a common phrase?
Well, they were talking about, I think, Ashley lashing out or it's something along
it
those.
was when Ashley and Davon were getting in a fight.
Yeah, and I was like, that is true. Like people who have insecurities and whatever. Yeah, they were talking about that fight that they had in Vegas,
Yeah.
whatever.
Ashley said she was hurt. She said she was hurting and therefore wanted to make the other person hurt.
Hurt people. It's what happens. And so again, after that, everyone kind of goes in these cycles of people yelling at each other. The next thing I had was just that Amanda was kind of sticking up for Hunter and saying like, "Hey, I told her she should have shared that money."
Yeah, but
which is surprising.
Hunter was mad at her.
Yeah, I don't.
And she came back and she's like, I risked my chance at $1 million for you guys.
Which isn't not really true because her and Zach were just so stubborn. They weren't going to compromise. But
and then Hunter told Ashley that she couldn't take that money when she goes.
Yeah,
but he didn't finish it.
But even when she dies,
we know.
Yeah, well, he was
we
like,
he said
going. He said you can't take it with you when you go.
And she's like, we'll see.
Yeah, she said we'll see, and I was like, that's kind of weird. But everybody else in the room got kind of quiet, and I think they were all thinking, what?
The whole time that especially when stuff started to be brought up about Cara, the whole time, I just kept thinking to myself, can we get Marie back on here, please?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so Dave Vaughn's yelling at Ashley. Hunter and Amanda are yelling at each other, and then it gets quiet. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, Faith decides to start yelling at Cara. I don't know how it started. I didn't hear what she said at first.
No, but before that, the one thing I had before the whole Cara, because they did happen, was they brought in Kaylee.
Was that before?
Yeah, they brought in Kaylee, and they asked about Nelson and Kaylee, and the thing I took away from that was Nelson went to the UK to be on X on the Beach UK, which we knew that just from
to tell her he still loved her.
That's what he said, and that's what she said. But then she's like, well, he was sending dick pics to people while he was
a girl in New York.
While
he was in Kaylee's bedroom.
Yeah, and his whole thing was like, but we weren't together.
So here's what it was.
So he didn't deny that.
No, he didn't.
You guys watch Friends, right?
It's exactly that.
This is the Ross and Rachel thing all over again.
We were on a break.
Yeah. All right, so where do we stand on that?
I think
because that was a big, even though it was a TV show, that was a big talking point then.
Okay, listen, I have watched Friends forwards, backwards, 18 million times. I can quote any line from any episode.
Episode 23.
That's not a good one.
She doesn't know.
Okay,
She doesn't know.
Ross and Rachel, they were on a break. No, he shouldn't have slept with someone the first night, but it was Rachel's fault. It was all her fault. They were not together anymore. And for all Ross knew, they were never going to be together ever again because she called it quits. It was her that did it. He wanted to go get frozen yogurt or something. And she said, no, a break from us. And he grabs his coat and he says, okay, and then slams the door on his way out.
The difference to me in these situations, which even though one's fictional.
Do you think Nelson is Kaylee's lobster?
I haven't watched The Lobster. You haven't either.
I'm still making a Friends reference.
There's a movie called The Lobster.
I know. It's Joaquin Phoenix.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
No, it's Colin Firth. Not.
Well, I know what
not
I
Colin
know.
Firth. It's
Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Yeah,
I know what The Lobster is about. It's where you try to find your soulmate, and if you don't, you turn into some weird creature.
His was a lobster.
Yeah. No. Phoebe said when Ross and Rachel finally got together, she's like, he's her lobster. It's the person that she's meant to be with. Do you think Nelson is Kaylee's lobster?
There's a Justin Long's in a movie called Tusk where he's made into a walrus.
Yeah.
So
good
the walrus.
I don't know about that. The thing that sets this situation apart to me is Nelson said he was going over there to declare his love
That's
for
the
her.
problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
If that was true, then he shouldn't be doing the other stuff.
If you're going over there to try to win this girl back, you can't be sending your wiener to other girls.
You got to at least wait till you get back.
You got to have her shut it down for good. Then you can send all the wiener pics you want to, as long as it's allowed. I'm not a fan of just. Right, we don't.
You're not.
We don't condone just sending your wiener.
You don't send them unsolicited.
That's it. That's the word. That's the word I was looking for.
I can't tell you how many times I've gotten that.
Not from me.
No, I've never gotten one from my husband.
Well, you get free look at any time you want to. Finger guns.
Yeah.
I see it at least once a day.
Yeah.
I don't even see it once a day.
You don't look when you pee?
That's his blindfolds.
Oh, when you got good aim, you don't need to look.
What?
No, again, that's my whole thing. And
That applies to anything. Go watch Daredevil.
yeah.
Man can't see.
Okay.
The funny thing, like, about it is,
He's
like,
got superpowers. It's different.
he didn't deny it. Like, he
Yeah.
didn't deny that that's what he was doing.
See, what?
I'm on Kaylee's side in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am too. Honestly, like in Friends, I'm on Ross's side. In this,
Because it was clear, right?
It was clear. It was.
You were
it
done.
Was cut.
Yep.
Done.
She thought they were trying to reconcile.
In this instance with Nelson and Kaylee, I remember it was one Tuesday right before we came up here to record. We were looking at Twitter, and you're like, "Oh, hey, so apparently Nelson is in London, and something happened, and Kaylee
She threw all his stuff
She threw
out. I
all
forgot
his
about
stuff
that.
out in the front
I
yard.
forgot about that.
And we're like, "Oh, something went down."
I think Joss had to come pick him up because Joss and Kaylee used to date.
Yeah.
And
Do you think Nelson sent a picture of Zoiner to Joss? And that's why he picked him up?
No, I think-
I don't think Nelson like is that confident. I think he would be like, "Oh, if I send him mine, he might send me his back, and it's going to be like mine's not going to be nearly as good. It won't compare."
Or maybe it's just code. Like the pic of his wiener means, "Hey man, come get me."
it's a
I
very
don't think
elaborate
that's
code.
it. I don't think that's it. No, but what I've been trying to say this whole time.
Say what's on your mind.
Well, I keep getting cut off. With Nelson and Kaylee, we knew something happened because we saw the tweets when it happened.
Yeah.
And so I was really hoping that they would say something about it tonight because I wanted to know what went down.
I forgot, honestly, about those tweets.
Oh, no, I didn't. But yeah, so their relationship was really confusing watching them this season until towards the end where she actually called him her boyfriend, and then we're like, oh, there's some clarity there. They actually do think that they have a relationship, and so that further solidified what we thought happened immediately after the season ended, why he traveled to London, twice?
Well, they had broken up from I mean, I may be off on this, someone's going to correct me. I'm pretty sure they had broken up. He went back to be on X on the Beach, which is where you confront your exes. She was on that show already. They called him in to say, like, hey, because I think she already had one, maybe two other exes on that show already. And so he comes back. His reason is he's going to declare his love for her. They're going to try to get back together. Then he does this. That's his own fault. And he wasn't even over there a week, I don't think.
No.
And
No. I remember that happening. Well, what got me was, did he really go over there to try to reconcile, to try to mend their relationship, and his goal being a future with her, a family with her?
She said that
marriage. That's what she said. I wondered if that's really what
I think
his reasoning for going over
I
there.
think so, because if anything, he didn't deny what he did. Like, he's been honest about.
Yeah.
He said he went over there to tell her that he loved her.
He's an honest person. I believe what he says, and sometimes he's really, in this case, really stupid.
Yeah.
Like that's just the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Ever.
The sad thing is I think Kaylee was open to it.
Yeah,
Because she had mentioned how he had talked about wanting to get married and have kids, and
She seemed genuinely upset when she was listing off how he told her he wanted to have a family with her, to have a house with her, to have a life with her, a future and marriage. Like, it seemed her calling off that list seemed like it broke her heart every time she said each thing.
Again, I think we all agree he kind of screwed it up. But
poor Nelson, man.
Do you think the girl in New York was Angela? Because she brought up Angela, and
I think she would have straight up called out Angela if it was.
He said she brought Angela into the conversation in the middle of this, and he said that he was talking to her, and they weren't officially together.
Oh, he said that he confirmed they were together. He's like, just so you know, he's like, me and her are talking or whatever.
Yeah, he said they are now.
Yeah,
But
I think.
But he said in the midst of all this, he and Kaylee were not together, or in their fighting, he and Angela were just talking, but they weren't officially together at the time.
I think if it was Angela he'd sent it to, she would have called out Angela, because Kaylee's again another one that's
She
not
likes
going
to call people out.
Yeah, and so I think this is just some other random person.
That's even worse. And honestly, how do you think Angela feels anything about that? Like if he's going to do that to Kaylee, who's his lobster, do you think he'll do it to her too? Does she think he'll do it to her too?
I mean, she like hooked up with Bananas. I mean, I don't.
Do you think she just doesn't care?
I don't think she cares.
Now, when he confirmed that he and Angela were like officially together, did you see her face? Like it's like she was so pleased to be like for him to be proud of their relationship.
Well, she didn't. Her and Faith did not like Cam and Kaylee to begin with this whole season. They were the ones saying, and they did all the stuff on Instagram. Oh, we'll post pictures without makeup and without your weaves and all that stuff. So that's got all history, which I don't want to get into all that. But the next thing we see is kind of where the Cara stuff happens next.
Okay, so Faith comes after Cara, asks her a question. I think Cara was kind of surprised by what she was
bring
saying.
it up? I think.
There was a transition.
Yeah,
made.
Dolph was the one who started it.
But Faith started yelling at Cara, and I think Cara was a little stunned, and so maybe she was trying to collect her thoughts. But Marie came swinging, like it's like she didn't miss a beat. Like she jumped on Faith, and even Faith said, she's like, let her answer her own questions. You don't have to speak for her.
Well, Marie's got that New York attitude.
You know what? And she should stand up proud.
Yeah.
Well,
I will say, though, I don't think Cara had much of a leg to stand on, considering her whole stance has been female empowerment and whatever this whole time.
Absolutely.
And then
absolutely,
she's like, I said it in a private group, and Angel's like, yeah, I sent it to her.
Yeah.
And
but do you think Marie came to Cara's defense?
Yeah, I think she did the whole show.
So even after everything that went down between the two of them in the finale, what does that say about Marie's character?
If this season's taught me anything, it's that I don't understand Marie.
Marie good, Cara bad.
It's just
okay,
like
Tarzan.
It's like going in this season, none of us really like had an opinion.
Was that funny?
I almost barked. Because
Tarzan barks.
What'd he do?
Not that. He was raised by
He
gorillas.
grunted.
He wasn't raised by a pack of feral dogs.
Is that what he did?
No.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know. Again, she's friends with Shane, then she's not friends with Shane. She doesn't like Cara. Now who knows? I mean, she's free to make her own decisions. And
I think because they were in that setting, and it was bringing up all the dirt from the season, that maybe Marie was back in challenge mode, and so she still felt like she was still Cara's partner, and it was just her first knee-jerk reaction was to come to Cara's defense, which I really think speaks volumes about Marie.
The problem I had with the whole situation, I mean, I'll get into another thing in a minute, but like Kyle and whatever, like she talks crap about him, he talks crap about her. They clearly still had feelings for each other.
They are each other's lobsters.
He did say at one point,
yeah.
he's like, Cara is like, just stop playing the victim. And I was like, that's the problem we've had all season.
Well,
Yeah.
even when Faith was coming out at her, it was like
She shrunk. Like
she was like in a fetal position
Yeah.
without being like super curled up.
it was like Kyle and Marie on each side of her.
Polly.
Polly, that's what I'm
That's right.
It should have been Kyle.
Should have been Kyle. High five on it.
You didn't even say it. You high-fived her.
I can't reach you.
So yeah, that's what was weird.
I'm here for high fives and hugs.
And it was just that's been our problem with Cara this season, is that like she acts one way and then she tries to I don't know if she tries to. She just is playing the victim a lot, and that's the problem.
Do you think it's subconscious?
I'm sure it has to do with some insecurities and whatever, but
do you think it has anything to do with her previous relationship with Abram?
Oh, I don't know. I can't psychoanalyze her on that.
I just wonder, because that was such a toxic relationship. I wonder if going through everything she went through with him, if it somehow damaged her emotional and mental health in a way.
She's always been like out there, and she's always been a different. She's always had like a different beat to her than everyone else, and that's.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. Beat to your own drum.
Can I tell you what I think?
Go for it.
No joke, serious.
Yeah.
I think she needs help. I think she legitimately needs like help. I think she has like, boy,
they're gonna come
I'm
for
crossing
you.
the line
They're
right
gonna
now.
come for
I
you.
know, but like seriously, like it's okay to say you need help.
Yeah, I agree.
But I've been around people who legitimately needed help, who were convinced otherwise and carried on.
Well, you're typically, I think, the last person to admit it when you need help.
And I think there's been a lot of psychological damage. And it's not, look, she's weird. That's not why she needs help. It's because
she's been through a lot of really big, really hard things
Publicly.
and now
it's for the whole nation to see.
And now it's caused her to become like this person who, like, I don't even know if she knows who she is anymore or what she wants.
I will say, me and you especially have watched
You and I.
her from the beginning. Like when she came on Fresh Meat 2, like back in the day.
Right.
And again, people grow, whatever, but she's almost this season become different than anything we've seen before.
Kara this season is the exact polar opposite of Fresh Meat Kara.
Which is fine, because again, that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
She's gonna grow.
And I mean, you don't always have to grow up. You can grow sideways at an angle.
My thing is she's not like, even like 3 seasons ago. It's not the same person.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to be continuously changing. You never want to be the same person you were 20 years ago. Like you want to be changing. But if you're changing too much, that's also a red flag. I feel like she's the female face of the challenge and has been for some time. And I think that she has so many people watching her that maybe she feels like she's over scrutinized. She may know it. She might not know it. But I think there are subconsciously a lot of things going on that are not helping her.
Well, I think Polly is not a good person to be with if you're trying to be stable.
I don't think he's the right person for her to be associating herself with.
Not with that haircut and that nose ring. Am I right?
No, it was awful.
He looks like he's in 3 Days Grace.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Hey, you know what? Good on him, though, for having his hand on their thigh the whole time.
It's possession. It's a possessive thing.
Oh, absolutely. That is...
Again, I got called out for being biased against Natalie and Polly this week, which is fine. I admit I don't really like him personally. I've been pretty open about that, but again, like
that is a red flag if you ever saw one.
His personality,
his hand on her thigh,
the possession.
Well, I don't know. His personality makes it's just like injecting like cocaine into your jugular for Kara. And it's like, it's only going to ramp up her insecurities and whatever more, because he's a character that lives to try to make people mad and whatever.
Listen to you breaking things down. Maybe you're the one she needs to talk to.
She can call me.
Listen,
your door's open.
Yeah.
we would sit down with her.
We could all sit down with her.
If she likes coffee, I just got a new coffee maker.
Yeah.
If she likes hot tea, I have 6 different types.
I like hot chocolate.
We would unsmash her head.
Yeah. I mean,
we would unsmash her head and heal her heart.
That's right.
I did television production as my major, but my minor
So you
was
could film it.
my minor was psychology.
Oh gosh,
Which
is that true?
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
don't go together well at all.
I didn't
but
know that.
We're
Yeah.
a bunch of real deep thinkers in this house.
How about that,
We analyze.
Dr. Couples,
That's it. So a minor gets you a doctorate.
Yeah.
Dr. Zach,
No,
not to be confused with Dr. Mario.
and again,
All right.
I mean, this is not necessarily a slight at her. I mean, like even Pete Davidson called out Kanye West. He's like, it's okay to need help. It's okay to need medication to make you feel better.
Well, Pete's heavily medicated.
Yeah, and so he's the person to talk on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you got another point to make?
Yeah. I mean, you can go ahead.
So to stay in the same,
I was going to
row
just
of
go
seats,
adjacent to go to Polly and
That's it.
and Kyle.
That's it. So the one thing about Paulie that he made clear tonight, and I want to know if you guys think this is possible. According to Paulie, he doesn't get insecure or jealous.
It's because he lives in a character that is that.
Well, when you're posting Joker memes,
Do you
I mean-
do you think he has an off switch where if he is away from the public eye for an extended period of time,
Jake's pointing at himself.
if he lets down his wall and he's actually a normal person?
I tell you this much, he can turn his sex button off, remember?
Yeah, but no, he couldn't. He said he could.
Well, you'll have to ask him about that.
Okay.
I just know those are words out of his mouth, but you've deemed
Yeah.
him a liar before.
Well, he had sex with Cara right after that.
So his sex button was on.
It was on. It didn't turn off.
I don't know. I think he has no self-control. So the clip that we watched that nobody's ever seen before, I think Cara was kind of blindsided by that. Don't think she knew that was there. It was Kyle
And tidy whities.
That's right.
in his
Say it. Whitey tidies.
unmanly underwear.
Well,
Jake, do you wear those?
He's just secure in himself.
you guys don't want to know what I wear.
Nothing.
Gross. So they show a clip of Cara and Kyle, and if they had it on camera, that meant it happened this season.
Oh yeah.
At some point,
She even.
I want to know when. Cara claims that he came in looking for trouble, and that she said no.
She said they just made out.
Yeah, she said no to the rest. But he gets up and he clearly is adjusting.
Somebody said, I think it was Brad. He's like, you sound like you pulled off a rubber. And again, who knows what actually happened? It did. I mean, they're in a bed together, and he was at most. It had one small piece of clothing on.
And she did too.
Yeah, and so we don't know when that was because they didn't give context on that.
Anyway, it was
this season though.
It was at some point in this season. And I just wrote one thing. How does Polly feel watching Kyle and Cora?
He said that she told him about it, but he's not insecure because he's King Polly.
And what got me about that is as soon as they showed the clip, Cara said that all they did was kiss, nothing else. And then they asked Polly, and Polly's like, yeah, she told me about all of that. I'm fine with it. I don't care. She can be with whoever she wants to be until me. And that just tells me, like, obviously they did do something if she told him about it.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, after all this, like, Polly and Kyle go into it, which, again, I said earlier, they're not going to fight. They're not going. There's no way. They're not.
Polly talking about beating up Kyle and
Polly talks about beating up everyone.
But did you see everybody in the room was cringing? Tony had his face in his hand.
Zach was just rolling his eyes. Brad was rolling his eyes because he said he beat up all of them. And but my favorite thing was when he's going to threaten them. I wrote it down because it's a quote. It's like, I throw one kick to your knee,
That's right.
And I was like, I mean, yeah, that would hurt, but that's not typically how you threaten someone.
That's not.
And then I asked you, let me kick you in the knee downstairs.
Keep somebody down and say, "Oh, you win. You're the superior one."
I mean, it's just a weird phrase to intimidate someone.
Also, he's so much smaller than Kyle. I think in every way.
Oh, he said Kyle had 3-inch something.
And then,
a lot of wiener talk tonight.
Then Paulie must have a 2-inch.
Anytime Paulie's talking, there's going to be talking about wieners.
You appreciated Zach asking him to wear more clothes, right?
I did think that was funny.
Yeah.
He's like, if you're ever going to fight me, please wear more clothes than in any elimination you were in.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
I
you
thought
know,
that was funny.
I'd have to take a kick to the knee to know what I'm dealing with here.
Well, I mean, what gets me is he always brings peni into the conversation.
Peni? Is that
Plural.
wow? Is it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's penis.
It's not. It's peni. Anyway,
You just say wieners.
So he
Have you ever said wiener?
wiener dog.
No.
What's the plural of penises? Wait, I just said it.
No, do it right. Ask her again.
What's the plural of penis?
I don't know what you mean by what's the plural of penis.
Does she have an accent on
I
her?
have her as Australian.
I'm trying to talk here.
Sorry, I couldn't find anything on the
You really messed her up.
I'm making a valid point.
She's never seen a penis before.
There
Siri, that is.
why on earth would Paulie feel it's necessary to constantly bring up the size of someone else's genitalia if for not the mere fact that his must be below average?
God.
Oh, no. I think I legitimately think it's not, because there's been a lot of talk about it, and that is that's his bragging point, is he has an abnormally above average size, and no one's debating that.
Really?
Yeah, that's legitimate from everything I can
Well,
tell.
usually men that
I agree. I know where you're going with that, but
where they're like, "Oh, you just have a little one," and it's just because they're insecure about the fact that they have.
I think that's the only thing he can hold on to.
Really?
Yeah, is that this is what I am. Everything I am is right here.
What a sad life. So sad. Sad.
Good for him though.
You know,
Also,
what you can.
I put Paulie couldn't touch Kyle. Also, Kyle seems to be a bigger fan of Brad than Brad is of Kyle.
No, they like each other. I think.
Yeah, they do, but Kyle was like, it was one heck of a ride, and he was like, Kyle was just so over.
I think Brad said he enjoyed.
he did.
Yeah. But if you looked at their expressions, Kyle was hopping out of his seat, grinning from ear to ear. He was so excited and happy, and Brad just seemed like, yeah, man, it was fun. Okay.
Brad's a hard one to read sometimes, unless his eyes are just wide.
When Paulie started talking, though, he gave him
Did
the
he?
eyes
I
at
didn't
one
see
point.
it.
I don't remember what Paulie was talking about, but he gave
Probably
him,
about fighting him
He
and
did.
Zach.
He was looking straight at him, and my eyes got wide again.
Yeah, I mean,
That's got to be an accomplishment, right? If you can make Brad's eyes go like that.
Yeah, because all of our podcast listeners could
but
see that.
I can guarantee you, everyone knows what you're doing.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've already gone longer than I expected. We're not even
Me
done
too.
yet.
Me too. Yeah.
I didn't start a timer.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Well, it's so the only things I really had left were
Josh and Sylvia should have won.
not that.
That was my next note, but it was in all caps.
Shane and Jose are okay. They're not gonna fight. They agree that they're not gonna be friends, but they're ultimately fine with each other.
Yeah, well, I knew Jose was not going to do anything.
No, I mean,
I knew it.
all of them. None of them are gonna really fight. It's.
He's just like Davon. He's just all talk.
Oh, well, he's Tony Danza. All right.
He doesn't look anything like Tony Danza.
No.
Are you... What's the name of his song?
Tony Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Tony
different person.
Danza
Tony Danza.
is that song that Phoebe referenced in that one episode of Friends where she's like, I want to be like Tony Danza. Hold me closer, Tony Danza.
Well, that's
Tony
the
Montana's
guy...
from Scarface.
Yeah,
But,
Tony Danza's from Three's Company, right?
No, that's John Ritter.
What's Tony Danza from?
Who's the boss?
That's the show.
And the garbage picky field goal kicky Philadelphia phenomenon.
That's right.
And there was a band from Murfreesboro, Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza.
Used to listen to them.
Still one of the best names of a band of all time.
Oh, yeah, that's a fantastic name. Life advice, carry this with you forever and always. Don't touch another man's pasta.
This is the last thing to really talk about.
Well, actually, it's similar to that. My last note was Johnny's on this like high horse, like trying to like be the moral compass of the group at the end, like telling Devin what to do. And we've all seen Johnny over the years. Like, I think maybe, I don't want to call anyone casuals or whatever, but more casual fans who have not watched, like, really sat down and watched entire seasons and, seen him at his fullest.
Well, you're in like...
Where he called people the R word left and right.
Well, not even that. He's done many things throughout the years.
You're in full challenge Twitter mode right now. You'll be referring to us as mutuals here in a minute.
He made Sarah cry her eyes out because he said that she was freaking R word. And
that might have been Kenny, to be honest.
No, Johnny said it because Evan and Kenny came to her because she was crying in the pool, and they came to console her and make her feel better about it. And they're like, he's just an idiot. And she's like, no, but he's been mentally tormenting me since I walked in the door.
Oh, yeah. Again, he has no moral high ground. He is what he is. You can like him or not like him. That's fine. But it's weird that he was trying to be that person. But, yeah, the whole pasta thing... That's
that
what
was
started.
my only note on that.
Well, that's what started it. Is he was saying, Devin, you're lying. You didn't think whatever. And like Devin pretty openly admitted that after he saw the clip, he's like, oh no.
He definitely like swept the leg.
And if anybody watched that episode when it aired, very clearly they sat him down in the interview room and showed him the clip, and his face fell.
Yeah,
and
his whole demeanor changed,
and he became angered.
He was like He's like, he didn't slip.
He did. He said he didn't slip. I can't believe that.
It was weird how weird Tony was being about the pasta thing. Like, he basically was like, I don't know you anymore, Corey.
Yeah.
It was real weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
Like,
well,
and they had to be drunk, right? To some
that
extent,
night?
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. They were all hammered.
Absolutely.
I mean, people do stupid things when they're drunk.
Well, Tony's defense was, he's like, I thought we knew each other better than that. Which, even then, like, Jake... If you took my bowl of pasta and threw it out the window, I think I would clock you in the eye. And you would not come back to my house.
You could come back to my house, though.
No, this is my house. My name is on this house.
God, we're really breaking things down tonight.
I take my food seriously. I take my pasta even more seriously. So I totally get where Corey's coming from.
Corey thought it was a disrespect thing.
It's not cool. It's not cool to dispose of anyone's food. When
I would seriously get very mad if somebody did that to me, even if it was a friend of mine.
Would you sweep Zach's legs out from under him if he did that?
I would absolutely try. I'd probably bring out like a hatchet or something.
Hello.
I did buy her a hatchet one time.
For my birthday.
Have you ever used it?
No.
Yeah, we used it to cut down the tree branches in the front yard.
Yeah, I used it.
It's a good hatchet.
It's actually not a very good one.
No.
It's from Harbor Freight.
Well, before we used it for that, I kept it. I slept with it by my pillow at night.
Because that's like you're gonna get up with a hatchet and go after somebody.
Listen, if somebody breaks in my house and I walk out of my bedroom with a hatchet in my hand, nobody is gonna bother me.
I got a baseball bat.
See, yeah, a baseball bat
with a fake signature of Hank Aaron.
You gonna show it to him?
Listen, nobody.
Look at it. Look at this. Hank Aaron.
Okay.
I don't even know who that is.
So
I know who it is.
So if you have a person with a baseball bat and a person with a hatchet, who are you more afraid of? The one with the hatchet, because you could literally decapitate somebody.
Yeah, you'd have to take a good swing.
It's like 3 inches wide.
I tell you what, you could do some real damage with a baseball bat.
You got more reach with a bat.
That's right.
Yeah.
You could go to the gut. You could go to the knees.
Or to the butt.
I'm not taking a leg to the knee. I'm taking a baseball bat to the knee. That'll take you out.
It will.
That'll take you out.
Yep.
So
You know what would take your limbs off? A hatchet.
I'd take a few swaps though.
yeah.
Here's the thing: is
Not
that
if you do it hard enough at the right spot. You got to get the right spot
that's real dirty.
with a hatchet to cut off somebody's forearm.
All right, enough hatchet talk here. We're getting
No, nobody's breaking in my house.
We're not a Juggalo podcast.
So here's the thing:
I love Devin. He's so funny.
has there been a more real rivalry than this one?
Then what one?
Johnny and Devin. I'm talking legitimate hatred.
Wes and Kenny.
I don't.
No, I think they kind of respected each
Yeah.
other. Yeah.
There's.
I don't think Wes respected Kenny.
I
think Kenny respected Wes because I don't think Wes.
But I think he thought Kenny was an idiot, but he understood they both played like valuable roles. I think Johnny. I think it's two things. Johnny likes to play up the angle that Devin's obsessed with him because that's the way he can win this argument. Because if he makes Devin out to look like a crazy person,
Yeah,
Johnny's got the numbers behind
He
him.
literally said to his face, "He's like, you're nothing without me."
And Devin's whole thing is he did beat him, and so he's gonna tote that the whole time.
Yeah.
I personally, as much as I love Devin, I don't think one-on-one and like a physical thing. I mean, if we're being honest.
Rage and hatred can do a
It-
whole
it
lot
can.
for you.
It
though.
can.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think if it was a physical thing, Devin's been working out. He said so himself.
I think it
He's
is.
been trying to get more in shape. Now, if it was the night that Johnny started talking about his dad, if it was physical, I almost think Devin could win that one.
I don't know. It's just. I do think it's.
That's the one chord you don't want to strike.
Yeah, I think after this season, it's become more real for sure. Like they legitimately. It's not just played up for.
Johnny
It
went
makes good
personal.
TV.
He hit
Yeah.
below the belt.
Again, that's
And
what,
it was uncalled for. It was not okay.
I will tell you. Probably 50% of the people that watch the show out there do not agree with that. They think Devin was in the wrong, which that's a whole other thing.
I think Devin started it, but he didn't get personal.
I think
Not like Johnny
again,
did. There was one of the cast members that even said, "You don't say that. You just don't say
Amanda.
that."
Yeah, it was Amanda. No, like again, like our Twitter friend, we don't know him in real life, Logan Hendrick. Yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah, from Rotten Banana podcast. We've talked to him, and he's I saw him tweet something yesterday to someone like it was someone saying something like it's unbelievable that people still like think Bananas had the right stance in this. And this was before the reunion aired.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, it is what it is, but it's crazy. One of our followers, I think it was Gigi, tweeted about it's kind of crazy, like feeling like you're standing on like the right side of history, like like what he's done in the past and all this. But
Shout out to Gigi, man. Good girl.
She always interacts with us.
Yeah, she sent me a really funny GIF.
Yeah, she's great.
I looked at it at work. It was
May
real
have
funny.
better retweets than you do. Oh,
What? I don't know what you said.
I just hit a nerve there.
I had a grade A tweet yesterday. I'm still getting notifications today on it.
I just diminished the power of Hannah's retweets.
It's fine.
Listen, I'm a lot less Twitter active than I was like 3 years ago.
Well, that's your fault.
So anyway, we talked way more about this finale than I expected.
We
Yeah.
expected to be done in less than an hour.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
over that by far.
Well, I just want to get this out. I truly, honestly do not believe that Johnny meant, "Oh, you should be at home helping your family in this tough time." I really, absolutely, wholeheartedly believe that when he said that, he meant it maliciously.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's
Because that's his character.
It's- yeah.
That's who he is.
we literally have like 14 years.
Like
of,
he's not a good person.
but anyway, I mean, do you have anything else about this finale?
Okay, so Devin got up out of his seat to
That's
go
next week.
No, but
That's the preview for next week.
yeah, that was a preview for
Yeah.
next week. So apparently Devin gets up and goes to get in Johnny's face, and obviously they're going to break it up because I really honestly believe that Devin's about to clock Johnny.
He's not that dumb. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. He would want Johnny to do it, but
But it cut over to Paulie, and even Paulie looked surprised and a little bit nervous about what might happen.
Well, he's gonna have to fight someone before Devin does, or he can't have Devin show him up. So he's gonna have to run behind Devin and kick him in the knee.
That's how he subdues him.
That, or he'll try to hit like Brad or Zach to look like a real tough guy.
Or do a double knee kick to both Devin and Johnny. A-tut-tut! Like that.
Like a Street Fighter.
Is that the sound that's gonna make?
Yeah. I feel like if he did do it, he'd go, ah!
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm not gonna get
Hey,
into
who
that.
smashed some heads tonight?
That's good transition right there.
You go first.
No, my answer was Ashley's new voice.
Okay.
Literally Ashley's new voice.
So what'd you pick?
CT.
Just being present.
Smashing heads with wisdom.
Listen, okay, so we heard from CT once. Did we hear
It
from
was more than that.
Yeah. He spoke.
Did we hear Cam say a word?
Yeah.
She had she had a question directed towards her, and that was it.
Yeah, she lays low during these reunions, and that was something
That's
somebody
smart.
pointed out on Twitter.
She knows
smart
she doesn't
girl.
need to say a lot.
Smart girl.
She's the queen.
I'm telling you, she's crazy intelligent. She knows
asked,
what she's
She
doing.
got asked about Kaylee, and she went on a minute or so on that. But that was about it.
Got a good head on her shoulders.
So I didn't write down my superlatives, so I got to kind of think on this. Who's smashing hands?
5, 4,
3, 2,
You know,
1.
You don't count,
2.
right?
No, I was doing it from that song where it goes 5, 4,
It's over.
3,
Time's
2,
up.
1.
You
You
pick
know-
It's
Brad.
a Sierra song. What is it? 1, 2 step.
MILF money.
Careful
No.
now. PG.
No, I'm gonna say
No, Level Up. It's her new song, the one that I hate because she's like, yummy, all in your tummy. I freaking hate that line. It ruined the entire song for me.
I'm trying to
We're trying to wrap up.
superlatives.
Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.
She's fired up.
So I'm gonna.
It's got such a good
Oh
beat.
my god.
You won't answer. We're literally waiting on you, and I don't want it to just be like silent.
Every time I'm about to talk, you jump in again.
She's drinking. Hurry up.
I know.
Say it.
I'm gonna pick just a British cast because they only came in there just to wreck people. And again, Kaylee went after Nelson. I mean, she kind of was like, "You did this," and basically destroyed any view in our eyes of him having a redemptive side to that story.
Listen, I really thought Nelson was just awesome, and then she said all that, and I was like, no way, it's not possible, it's not true. And he didn't deny a single bit of it, and then my heart hurt a little bit. And
It
I was
didn't
like,
surprise
ugh.
me at all.
I was a little surprised because I thought he was just head over heels and fancied by Kaylee. I thought he'd never do her wrong.
He's obviously fancied more by his wiener.
and then
Yeah.
and then Kyle with
Hooking up with Cara, proof of it,
and then
making Polly watch it.
well, and then telling her to just quit being the victim. And so
Yeah.
that's who I'll go with on that. Who got smashed?
Who got smashed?
Got their head smashed. Yeah.
Who got smashed or who got their head smashed?
I'm gonna go with
You've had enough.
I did because there was just so much yelling and like it was just people going over the top of each other to where it wasn't even like anything you could decipher.
It was
really.
just screaming. Yeah, I did make a note on my first page that all this screaming really hurt my ears. For my head smashed, I wrote Polly when he saw the video of Cara and Kyle in bed.
What about you?
Johnny.
About?
About 3 or 4 different times.
Oh yeah, because Ashley had a good one coming back at him.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with Devin and yeah.
Poor guy.
No.
I don't feel bad for him ever.
All right, not poor guy.
Nope.
Forget Johnny,
Never.
man.
So
He sucks.
what about album of the week? High school album of the week if you're new to the show.
That's right.
Mine is The Big Black and the Blue by First Aid Kit. I absolutely love them. They're great.
You could have made up that entire thing and I wouldn't
I wish
know.
you'd have just picked Bare Naked Ladies.
That-
A Chinese chicken.
B&L.
There's a funny community thing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
This album is the one I was telling you about where when I am looking for something to listen to, I think about it and then I'm like, not really feeling it. And then I put it on, and it's like, yeah, this is a good one. Armor for Sleep. What to do when you're dead.
I get what you're saying. It's got some like cheesy over the top moments, but
It's got some bangers on it too, man.
I would never equate Armor for Sleep with bangers.
Who are you, Miley Cyrus?
I will say, I thought Armor for Sleep was going to be like the next like Fall Out Boy or whatever, because MTV was pushing them hard for a little while.
I love Fall Out Boy.
And they were probably a little too whiny.
Yeah, for sure. But
And they talked about death a lot.
yeah.
that doesn't go over well. It's not crowd pleasing.
No.
But
Nobody
I bought that CD on
will ever replicate Patrick
a
Stump.
youth trip.
It's a good album though.
Yeah. Were you on that one when we went to Six Flags?
No, man, I wasn't invited.
That was the same one that
That was a good jab making him remember it.
we were driving. I got that at a Walmart. And we were driving back from St. Louis. So it was like a 4-hour drive. And
Was this at that really weird rundown mall that we talked about the other day? Okay.
this is we were driving back from St. Louis, and one of our friends is my really good friend from high school, Tyler. He had flip flops on, and my cousin Jake, who we've talked about on the podcast before, who got kicked out of my house. Our youth pastor at the time was driving the van, and he has a short fuse when it comes to things. And Jake took one of Tyler's flip flops and threw it at the front of the bus, and like hit right beside where he was driving. And the guy grabbed it and rolled down his window and threw it out the window, like going down the interstate. And so Tyler just didn't have a shoe anymore at that point. And I don't know. It was just kind of funny because Tyler didn't even do anything.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you hang out with Jake.
Me?
No.
I had
the one
Jake.
the one that did a lot of stupid stuff.
I had two options, and I'm gonna go with the more chill of the two.
Dillinger's Escape Plan.
Yeah. No. Death Cab for Cutie. Plans. The album Plans.
That's probably my favorite of their albums.
I like Transatlanticism, the one that came out before it,
I think that's the one
a lot.
Yeah.
But Plans was one I was listening to in high school a whole lot.
Yeah.
So that was mine. It's got a lot of really good songs on it.
Well, you said that you thought you were going to go for Death Cab for Cutie, and I was like, oh, I almost picked that one, but I went with First Aid Kit because it's a little less known, but also super chill, easy listening, very folksy.
I've literally never heard of that band before.
It's just two girls and they harmonize.
Like Tegan and Sarah?
Yep.
Or Tattoo. You remember them, right?
Yeah, they were like
All the things she
the
said.
lesbian Russian girls that got in a lot of crap.
Well, for
Got a
all
lot of
of our
radio play.
listeners that like easy listening, maybe at work, in your office,
Kenny G.
Tattoo.
Tattoo.
look up First Aid Kit. Go for their earlier albums. They're all really great, really relaxing.
So our movie this week, we're just keeping with the theme, 1998, because we've
Good
been
year.
going in order.
Good year.
So do you want to go first since it was yours?
Yeah, this is a good movie, man. Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain.
That's what you went with?
That's what I went with.
Out of all the movies.
The one with Hulk Hogan
It's one
in
of
it?
those that's so goofy and cheesy and bad that it's a fun watch.
So many groundbreaking,
Yeah, listen,
life-altering movies came out in 1998. I almost couldn't choose one.
I didn't.
And that's what you go with?
I didn't own this movie, but I can't tell you the amount of times I rented it from any video store. We had a Movie World in a little town I lived in.
Did we?
No, not that one.
Oh, I was like, I don't
the
know.
other one.
Hannah doesn't like
Yeah, no.
to reveal our location.
I don't.
So, even though we've mentioned a few times we currently live. No, listen, it's got Hulkamania in it.
I know.
And he plays a ninja.
I've seen it.
And he gets beat up real good. He wears he's got weird hair in this movie. But
I don't remember that.
Tum Tum, no, Colt in particular is
Sometimes the little one.
yeah, Colt's the middle one. Colt in particular is real bad in this movie.
Like a bad kid or not a good actor?
And then one of the bad, there's a kid that pees his pants. Any movie that's got a kid wetting their pants, you know you're in for quite a movie.
Like Billy Madison.
Right? It's a good one. And so, yeah, 3 Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain. It's a good one.
I mean, go for what you want. I picked Dunstan Checks In, so.
That was 97, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, I've done that in the past.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I pick kids' movies. It's fine. What about you? What was yours?
A Bug's Life.
I figured someone would pick a Bug's
that
Life.
was in the VHS all the time for me.
Listen, I wanted to go
VCR.
with A Parent Trap. Classic Lindsay Lohan. It's probably the greatest movie she's ever done. It really.
Have you seen I Know Who Killed Me?
Or Gothica.
No, first of all, Mean Girls.
That's
Mean
Halle
Girls.
Berry. Gothica's Halle
Gothica
Berry.
is Halle Berry.
Mean Girls is a good movie, but I can't watch it back to back to
Oh,
back
man.
every
Yeah.
day. Not like I can The Parent Trap.
I saw Mean Girls in theaters.
Don't discount Freaky Friday either.
That's
Okay,
not-
Freaky Friday is a
Yeah.
real close second.
What if-
I freaking
Not 1998, though.
Love that movie.
What about the Model Behavior movie?
What was the movie that was on Lifetime?
Oh, I loved Model Behavior.
The one where Tyra Banks comes to
Yeah,
life.
it's her Barbie doll, and she comes to life, and she doesn't know how to do anything.
Hold on.
Ugh. Okay. Anyway, I wanted to go with The Parent Trap because I love that movie. Anytime it's on, I'll just sit down, I'll stop what I'm doing, and I'll watch it all the way through. It's so great, and it was one of my favorite movies growing up. I watched it all the time. But I chose to go with A Bug's Life because it's the first movie that I ever saw in theaters.
Liz and Dick. That's the movie. It was a TV movie.
I don't know that one.
Oh man, what was it on?
The Disney Channel?
No, it was on like Lifetime or something.
Even
Hallmark.
worse.
So there was a lot of good movies. I was trying to pick one that I didn't think either of you would pick.
Well, I left The Truman Show for you to pick.
I wasn't going to pick that. I do love Jim Carrey, though.
I know.
I saw that in theaters.
You love that movie.
Quick quote from Liz and Dick.
We're
Char-
still on that.
Character named Sarah Taylor. Her line was, "Not that I'm counting, but if I'm not mistaken, you just ended what? Your 4th marriage?" Lindsay Lohan's character, Elizabeth Taylor, says, "Oh, who's counting?"
Oh, that's the movie where she played Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Oh! That's when she was trying to make a comeback in her
Yeah,
career,
I
and it
I didn't-
failed
yes.
miserably.
There's a How Did This Get Made? Done on
Yeah,
that.
I didn't
Oh,
realize.
there is.
Yeah.
We got to listen to that.
You gotta watch it
already
first.
have.
I haven't listened to it.
So,
Round of
We're gonna-
applause
we're
for
gonna-
Lindsay Lohan's career. Zach.
It ended long ago.
well, no. Speaking,
and we'll never see it again.
that's not even true. Like
well,
speaking
the
of
whole beach
Kayla,
house.
yeah, Kayla from the Challenge was on her new show. Go ahead, Tom.
She was for like 3 weeks, and then she got fired.
My pick, I went with Simon Birch. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Have you seen that?
Jake, just say no.
Oh man, I feel like I have.
It's
You
about this
probably
like
haven't.
kid that's like he's got something wrong, like dwarfism or something.
Yeah.
And he accidentally hits a baseball and it kills his
Yeah.
best friend's mom.
Yes.
That's a good movie.
man.
And he like gets trapped in a bus later.
What
like,
an awful concept.
No, it's
you are
a-
not selling me on this
it's
movie.
a really good movie.
man.
It's sad.
Pulls at your emotions.
Yeah.
Oh, if it's
an
sad,
unbelievable way.
I will never watch it if it's sad.
Christopher Platt's in it as like the stepdad or whatever.
Man.
Like it's good. It's a good movie. You know, so the reason I saw that movie, I saw it in theaters. I was with my cousin Jake again, the one that whatever. He invited me over to his house because he wanted to go to the movies, and this is '98, so I was like 10, and he was a couple years older than me, and
Hey, do you know how old I was in '98?
he was a couple years older, and so he decided he wanted to go see The Waterboy instead.
Jake's not laughing at
I
that.
know.
He's laughing at me.
He wanted to go see The Waterboy instead because it had just come out. It was '98. But he knew I couldn't go see it because I was only 10, and my parents wouldn't let me go see a random like PG-13 movie they didn't know about. So after he invited me over to his house to come to the movies, he ditched me to go watch The Waterboy with his friends and made me go see Simon Birch with his mom. Which,
That's
man.
sad.
yeah, which Simon Birch ended up being a really good movie.
Yeah.
But
Better than Waterboy.
critically, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. It's really sad though.
Man.
That story was sad.
I think Jim Carrey's in it.
He may be.
I think he has a cameo in it at the end.
Is that secretly why you watched?
No, I just remembered that. But it's
because you love Jim Carrey.
no, it's about this little kid that's like it's in the 50s or 60s, and he's like struggling. He's got like some problems with him. He can barely walk, and it's about him and his only like real friend like causing trouble and like doing all kinds of things. And they make him at one point play baby Jesus in like a nativity scene play because he's so small.
That's awful.
And the girl like leans over and she has cleavage and he's like boobies, and he grabs him and pulls her into the manger. And so you should go see it just for that.
No, I want to watch it again.
I have it on DVD. You can borrow it.
You want to watch it downstairs sometime?
Yeah, sure. But that was my pick for tonight. Man, we went longer than I ever expected us to
Like
go.
2 hours right now.
It's an hour and 40.
A minute,
wow.
minute 40.
So
good band.
we'll be back next week for part 2. We'll see what happens. And as always, do you guys know our plugs?
RIP PC. You can find us on Rest in Peace, pretty cute.
Yeah, I know what you meant, but that's not a good way to plug anything.
You can find us on Twitter at Smashing Heads Podcast.
No.
Okay. I never remember. Smashing Heads Podcast on Instagram. Go follow us on the gram. It's real fun. You can email us. We love to read the emails. Makes us happy. We love to respond. We love to hear your questions or your comments or your corrections when we get things wrong. So you can do that at Smashing Heads.
You're not plugging anything correctly. Our email is smashingheadspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, I said you can do that at Smashing Heads.
That's all you said.
Well, because you cut me off.
Anyway, it's
at gmail.com.
smashingheadspodcast@gmail.com, at Smashing Heads on Twitter, at Smashing Heads Podcast on Instagram. Just search for Smashing Heads Podcast on Facebook. And Podbean is smashingheads.podbean.com.
I did not get that email
Stitcher.
wrong. I was saying it correctly.
You
can email me at smashingheadspodcast@gmail.com.
We will
Where
see you
where
next
is the
week.
lie? Where is the lie?
Marie good, Cora bad. Have a good night, everyone.